Hey everyone, my name is Chris Lambert, and on this channel we talk Kanye West, and this is another secret discussion. We have more information, but it might be too much information. And by that I mean Donda was supposed to come out July 24th, and because it didn't release and Kanye has been secretive about any new date or what's been going on, fans have been kind of scrambling. Like, is the album still coming out? Does Kanye even know that the album's still coming out? He hasn't said anything about it. So they've been looking for any crumb of information from anybody else, whether it's Casey Pluto, Pat Toussaint's, Consequence, Boo, any of these people in Kanye's circle, to like siblings of people, to random rumors. That's just kind of the hurricane and frenzy that fans get into when there's no information about what to do, because I don't think people were really doing this heading up to July 24th, right? I mean, there were some people digging for information, but for the most part fans are like, all right, cool, the album's going to come out, maybe, hopefully, but it's not until it doesn't release that we start going like, what is happening? And I say too much info in just the sense that you may remember with Yandi kept getting delayed. Fans started wondering what was going on. And then you started hearing leaks, like leaks and leaks and leaks. And that ended up being the death knell for Yandi as an album. Whether the leaks actually killed it or whether the leaks were a byproduct of the album already being shelved, right? Like, Kanye had already decided that that wasn't going to be the album he's coming out with, so let's start rearranging it, which meant that he didn't care as much if the songs came out, versus these songs are out, fuck it, like, let's move on. We don't really know which one of those it was, which makes the situation kind of dangerous when we start seeing that there's more of Donda starting to leak, because you don't know what that means for behind the scenes. Does that mean that there are rats on the ship, so to speak, and they're leaking this material, and that's going to cause Kanye to say, like, you know what? Never mind, back to the drawing board. People already heard this. I don't feel like fixing it. And we get Yandi'd again? Or is it the kind of thing where because they're starting to move on from the album and change direction, or some of these versions are no longer being used, that we're starting to see these things leak? Who's to say? But Kanye, like, I know that there have been people that have been talking about like leakers, like what's going on, like these people in Kanye's camp. This has been happening kind of since the get-go. Like, College Dropout leaked months before it's supposed to release, and Kanye delayed it and went back to the drawing board and started redoing everything, like relayed all the vocals, added a bunch of production elements until we got the album that we know and love. 808s leaked ahead of time, like 2 weeks ahead of when it was supposed to come out. But back then in 2008, like, file sharing wasn't what it is today. I'm so much brighter now, and the shirt, I'm glowing. It wasn't the same as it is today. Like, if 808s leaked, how many people know where to look for it, are able to share it with others, are downloading it? I mean, you might have less than 2,000 people that actually listen to the leaked version of College Dropout or 808s and Heartbreak. But then, maybe it's more, but it doesn't seem like it would be that huge of amount to me. But at this point in the game, with social media and how easy file sharing is, and just the spread of information, it's way more dangerous when things leak, and way more destructive. And no artists like that to happen to them, right? Stuff that you've been working on that the public hasn't gotten to see, like, when that comes out, it's disappointing. Whether it's photos on set of a movie or scenes from a movie, song snippets, or anything of the like. It's one thing if it's God Level coming out years after God Level's been scrapped, right? That's one thing. That's kind of this lost gem that fans are now getting to listen to, or an alternate scene of a movie that none of us really ever got to see, something like that, where the final product's already released. But it's something else when they're still working on this and this information's starting to leak. So highs and lows. But with that said, I guess let's get into some of the information. You can see here that there were 3 snippets that are now out from Donda: Future Bounce, With Child, and Off the Grid. Future Bounce, we talked about in our last secret discussion. With Child, The soundscape of it, I mean, these are such short snippets and the sound quality is not that great. It had elements that kind of reminded me of water, but it doesn't sound like that much like water. It's just if I was going to compare it to a Kanye song, that would be the song. And then Off the Grid, just, I don't know, interesting and unique, but I'm somebody that's much more interested in the final product than listening to the leaks and getting hyped by the leaks because we don't know what's going to shift or change or where it's going to go. You can see here, Casey wasn't happy. You leakers with the face palm and the angry face. Yeah, this was the 808s, and this was just a history of Kanye and recent leaks. Like Power leaked ahead of time. Yeezus leaked 3 days ahead of when it was supposed to. Mama's Boyfriend, All Day, Awesome. Like, do you remember when So Help Me God, all those songs started to kind of leak out or be given to other people? Ugh. And then we had this Slush here just said, I read up on the Kanye West leak drama, and it's so stupid. So there's a anagram. Is that what it is? Somebody that's using kind of a fake name for leak, and it's just Alec. Alec privately bought Lift Yourself with actual lyrics. Alex screwed up the group buy. Donda movie could get Kanye canceled again. Also, the movie is a comedy. Some unrelated people capping about the album. Nobody wants to leak the album before Kanye drops. I mean, the most interesting thing out of there is the Lift Yourself with actual lyrics, which is something that I think at this point, 2 years later, not that big of a deal for that to be out there, as opposed to songs that are seemingly supposed to be on albums released. Though I say that, and No More Parties in LA was like 6 years old. It was something that Kanye had recorded like way before, gotten the beat to way before, and then brought Kendrick on, and Kendrick's verse was like a couple years old, and then Kanye came on. So a lot of this stuff, even though it's older, doesn't mean that it's necessarily never going to be used like music wise or concept wise, but the moment it leaks, it may never be used. And then the Donda movie, there were a few screenshots that started surfacing. I'm not going to share them, but there were a couple screenshots that started surfacing, and it looked to just have that same atmosphere of the Jesus is King movie, just very artistic, very directorial in that way. The comedy thing is something that I don't know if it's going around. A few people have in separate messages and things just been like, oh, did you see the movie, like comedy question mark. So I don't know much more about it other than people kind of asking me questions about it. But it wouldn't surprise me for Kanye to go into the realm of comedy. Like, I feel like humor is a big cornerstone of Kanye's personality and something that he's always drawn to when it comes to film. Like, a lot of his favorite actors are comedians. A lot of his favorite movies are comedy elements or have comedy elements. So, And then there was one bigger rumor that was going around, just information about when the album will come out. And it was by somebody in the physical media industry. Somebody that knew somebody in the physical media industry, right? And they were saying that it was going to be 50 minutes, the album, but then in a follow-up said that it was only going to be 25 and 45. So by physical media industry, it means that they work in the industry where physical media, like CDs, vinyls, all of that, and they would have information about the album. I realize I didn't foreground that or contextualize that well enough, but they would have information about the album because they would have to be sent that information before all of the process to make it begins, right? So they were saying that was initially 50 minutes, but that now it's something more like 25 to 45 minutes, anywhere within that realm, which is kind of crazy because they were saying it was at least 14 tracks, and say it was the minimum of 14 tracks. If it was only 25 minutes, that's a minute 47 per track, which I don't know. I'm kind of tired of shorter albums. Like, I want an hour-long album. I want an hour and a half long album. Just give me like 22 songs and 90 minutes at this point, because I feel like it's going to be interesting. I don't want that from everyone, but I will take that from Kanye at this point after 3 like 20-minute albums. But if it's 45 minutes, then it's at least 312 per track, which is a little better, right? Like 3-minute songs are full. You kind of have that satiation before moving on to the next song. I mean, you could have a couple 6-minute songs and just another couple shorter 1 minute 30-second songs if that's the case. But and then they were saying that they only get this information like 2 weeks before the project releases. So that means that we could be within 2 weeks of the album coming out, right? Whether that's this Thursday, it's only Monday, right? This Thursday or next Thursday would kind of be the target dates. If it is going to release on a Thursday, right? Not something that Kanye typically sticks with, but we all keep looking at it because that's when new music comes out for the rest of the world. And then I guess the only other thing to note here is that Kanye yesterday had restarted Sunday service. And you could see that they were filming. Sunday service was performing at the second ranch that Kanye has that's closer to the Bighorn Mountains. There's a piano in a field. It looked really cool. Like Kim was announcing that Sunday service is back. The choir was all wearing orange, which feels very Donda-esque when you look at the sheets of paper have all been orange. The album cover has so much orange. Like Kanye's been like hyping up the color orange for the last couple weeks. Incidentally, I have orange sticky notes all around. That's just some nice synchronicity. But it feels like that there is more momentum coming back to music, right? For the last few weeks, Kanye's just been tweeting fashion information and random things and photos that he's just kind of into and looking at. This was the first time that he's been back to looking at performers and tweeting about music and stuff relating to music. So it would at least seem that that could be a final touch needed for the album. They get everything else, but then they need some of the vocals from the choir to come back in, which I'm hoping is the case. And that would then put us at just, a few days to 10 days out. So fingers crossed. And if you want to listen to the leaks, I mean, go for it. There's not much there. And I'm still of the mindset that it's better to wait until the album comes out. And it seems like the movie still is being made and shot, and we'll see what that's like too. But as there's more information, we'll be back to have our secret discussions. I hope this has been helpful for you. And if you want to support the channel, the easiest way is liking, subscribing, and commenting. All of those things tell YouTube that this is a channel people enjoy, and then they show it to more people, which helps us out a lot because hopefully then the subscriber count goes up. And then the thing that we're most well known for is our line-by-line lyrical analysis of Kanye's discography. We spent 2015 to 2020 going through Kanye's entire discography, song by song, line by line. It took us 5 years, but we did it. College Dropout all the way up to Jesus is King. No Cruel Summer, no Watch the Throne. But we're talking 100+ episodes, 200 to 300 hours of content of us giving the, I think, most cohesive and like deepest dive into Kanye's discography that's ever been undertaken. And if you want to, I guess, have your relationship with Kanye's music changed forever, then listening to those episodes will do that. You may not agree with all of our conclusions. Maybe like, these guys go a little too far here, but I guarantee you're going to hear something in there that you're like, wow, I have a newfound appreciation for the song that I already loved or liked or didn't really like, but now respect, because there's a lot to dig into. So that's patreon.com/Kanye podcast, just $5 a month. And there's also a link down in the description. And then I write books. And my second novel just came out a couple months back. So if you want to support my literary career, I have links in the description for book 1 and book 2. But otherwise, we'll be back soon with more Kanye conversation. Until then, keep it wavy and stay loopy. Cheers.